So California has the highest gas prices in America.
Woo!
The world. And did you see I Am Legend with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, and the opening sequence when his dog runs into the
How
place.
close to the gas?
The gas was like 6 and change, so we're getting really close.
Hey, welcome back to our Stupid Reactions of Korbins.
I'm Legend. Wait, no.
You are?
I'm Will Smith. No, that's not accurate either. I am Rick.
Today, we got a little interview. It's with Shahrukh and...
Kajol.
No.
Oh.
Brad Pitt. That's not a joke. It's with Shahrukh and Brad Pitt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So this is...
Brad Pitt meets SRK.
A few years ago, I think it was...
It won't surprise me.
2017.
Won't surprise me if Brad Pitt's a fan.
But the interview itself is, I think, an hour. This is a little cut-up snippet from it. It's about 15 minutes of the interview. But this is quite interesting to me, having these two in one room.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
I think that's absolutely awesome. So let's just get into this. And I think it's done by that, I forget, is it Raji, maybe is his name?
Who's like being the moderator?
Yeah, we've seen him before.
Okay.
We've seen his interviews, so hold on.
I'm just going to say, because I'm pretty sure everyone in this room is saying it in their heads, this is a pretty incredible moment. Brad Pitt and Shahrukh Khan,
Why are you so far?
the biggest global superstars. Gentlemen, this is a very special moment.
All right.
Brad, this is not your first time to India, is it?
No, we actually shot a mighty hard here. So we were here for a few months and got to explore a lot of the country. It was a fantastic experience. Good to be back here.
There are locals in Pune who got used to seeing you on the bike and you waving out to them.
Yeah, it was good. I got to scoot around on an old Royal Enfield and put a helmet on and just get out amongst the masses. It was really nice.
You know, it's interesting, both of you actually started your movie careers around the same time. Brad, Thelma and Louise, your big breakout hit, released in 1991, and that led to this exciting long career. Shahrukh, Deewana, which was your first film, big runaway success, released in 1992. What's the secret to staying relevant, successful, and influential for 25 years?
Whew, you want to take that? No, I would say luck. I'd say a little bit of luck, but I also trying to reinvent. You know, constantly trying to look for something new, something different, and I, you know, fortunately, I guess we were able to survive our mistakes along the way, and I think just staying relative.
Yeah, mainly that. I think, you know, to be able to survive your mistakes, and mistakes were normally things which are very close to your heart. You know, and if they went wrong somewhere down the line, the only thing that keeps you going is the fact that you're still surviving. And you try and do it as often as you can, as much as possible. And I think he more than me would tell you that, you know, to be such a successful star around the world, there are a lot more expectations from you. And you need to keep it very simple then. You don't need to be trying to work for those expectations or keep on doing the stuff that people expect of you. You keep on doing what started you off, which is being relevant, being novel, trying to, you know, kind of reinvent yourself, and the simple things which made you want to be an actor in the first place.
You know, you both have enormous success, but also enormous pressure. How do you balance, or how do you really combine artistic integrity with commercial success?
Good question.
Because that's a huge pressure on both of you, I'd imagine.
I say you just have to make sure you get time for yourself, time for your friends, time for your family, and let the next idea percolate. It's not so difficult to achieve a balance. I'm able to compartmentalize pretty well the private life and the public life. How about you?
I do that too completely. I mean, as far as work is concerned, I think what he says is actually the crux of it. You know, if you can be leading your public life, which is on sets also, invariably. I think if you can protect it in terms of that from your private life and your private life from the public life, I think when you go back home and you're leading the regular stuff that you're supposed to do, in whatever form, with family, friends. I think it just keeps you kind of grounded. You know, like my kids. I mean, more often than not, don't like my films. that's really, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. You know, they reward. Oh, this one was so boring, Papa. So, you know, it's like, it's not the biggest thing in the house, Papa's film to do well. It is not a special thing. It should not be a special thing with family and friends. And invariably, you know, we make friends even in the film industry. And then everybody kind of just starts pushing you along and saying, no, this was the best thing you did. Yeah, it was different. I think the real friends in the film industry also tell you, or keep it simple and keep it normal. I think that's what actually really helps you and takes the pressure off. That at home you're a nobody. And as long as you're a nobody with your friends and at home, I think you can be a big star like Brad Pitt outside.
You know, I would imagine that it's not just me. Everyone in this room, I would imagine, wants to know, how do you pick the films that you do? How do you decide what you want to do next as an actor?
Well, for me, it depends a lot about, you know, who's telling the story. You know, it usually starts with a script, a good piece of writing, and the decision to go investigate that. And then I want to surround myself with filmmakers I respect, because we are ultimately putting ourselves in the director's hands, and there you have a real freedom to go explore, to go out as far as you can go, and you know you're in really good hands. So, and at the end of the day, after, I don't know about you, but after doing it so long, I want to do it with friends and people I like, and that seems to be more important, the people I surround myself with, than anything else.
I've said it so often, it's exactly the same thing. I've even said it before that I sometimes don't even want to know the story, as long as the people who are telling the story are people I
Relationships.
as a matter of fact, because now in India there's so many new filmmakers. I don't know them. I haven't gotten to know them personally. And it's not just doing it for a friend, but I try to spend a couple of years with them before I start the project.
Sure.
You know, just to be comfortable. I think
Can't wait for that On Your Rock Shahrukh Khan film.
What matters to you most is the people who are making the film for you, and the people that you're trusting with whatever little bit of talent you have. And you say, okay, this is in your hands, now try and make me look the best you can, and I will completely trust you. And you can only do it with people that you are, you know, kind of easy with, or friends, like you said. I've done that for the last 15 years. I've really never really worked out of what a lot of people call the comfort zone. But it's not the comfort zone. Or maybe you require that comfort to be able to tell a better story.
Good to have talented friends, right?
Yeah, that's important.
Sure. How long is a shoot on a Bollywood film?
If it's an action dancing film, about 120 days, 140 days. Sometimes longer if things go wrong. And if it's a simpler film, then about 70 days.
It's about the same with us, but we don't have dancing. I would never make it in Bollywood because I can't dance.
No,
I can't.
We'll make you dance in Bollywood.
Really?
Yeah. We'll make everyone dance in Bollywood.
I think it'll be the first film and the last.
Do your roles seep into your life? Do they change you? Do they stay with you, or do you discard them?
I guess they kind of feed each other. Your individual life and what you're investigating in the film, it has to in some way. But I quickly discard them and move on to the next project.
I use a term which I describe a lot of film work, and I call it demotional. I'm extremely emotional when I'm doing it, and then I'm completely detached once it's over. I need to just move on to. I can't stick on to something. And I've been asked many times, playing this character role, has it changed your life? No, it hasn't. You know, because like he said, it feeds off your experiences, and then you try to put them into a character or a role, and then you just move on. It's your experiences finally. Of course, the quirks that you put in, or any mannerism that needs to be put in, or research into a biopic kind of space, all that, yes, those I think are, you know, just technicalities as an actor that you learn and work and prep for. But beyond that, no. I do one, and I take a 2-hour-long bath on the Friday.
Daniel Day-Lewis envies you.
2 hours, and then by Monday I'm through. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. Yeah.
Was there one character that was just hard to wrap your head around, one character more than others, that was difficult to get into?
I'd ask him about Benjamin Button.
Sure.
I'd ask him about a film, I forget the full title, 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found you amazing in that one.
Thank you.
It was fantastic. I don't know how many of you have seen that film.
Yeah.
It was mind-blowing in that film. I mean, that's where I became a big fan of Brad as an actor. Burn After Reading.
Of course.
And there's lots of them, hundreds of them.
And Babel.
I would ask you, just
Small role in
continue with
Babel,
that
he's
one.
great.
With
Mr. and
Babel,
Mrs.
any of
Smith.
the films.
Those were all. They took especially 12 Monkeys took
Yeah,
a
12
lot
Monkeys
of insanity, locking myself in a room for a couple of weeks and just seeing how crazy we could get. But no, it's just part of the. I call them all challenging, but it's what we do. I wouldn't say any were difficult. Some, landed better than others, but it just seems part of the process, part of the craft.
I'm going to speak for most of the fans, and I'm going to ask you about Fight Club, Tyler Durden.
No, that was just fun. That was just fun. Yeah. Anytime something's irreverent and it's a great piece of writing and a dear friend of mine, David Fincher, directing.
If you haven't seen Fight Club, don't talk
And
about it.
Edward Norton. No, we mainly just laughed. Much like this one, actually.
Shahrukh, for you, particular character that was hard to wrap your head around?
Because we have singing and dancing in our films, more often.
I can't sing either.
You can't. I also don't. I'm mini villain. I sing it from the back. I just. Because they have singing and dancing, it does become as you know, the commercial films, the singing and dancing does come in a set piece, and it's just part of no storytelling. You just have to do it because you have to do it. Maybe in some films, in the background. So you really can't. A lot of people say this, and maybe I'm going to be speaking against them when I say this, but you can't really get into a character if you have to sing and dance every 20 minutes in a film. It's not a musical. It's not being laid out like that. You're not playing. I don't know how you pronounce the name, Bob Fosse.
That's correct.
It's not all that jazz. Somewhere down the line, it's just a song and dance.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry to say, how to dance in character. How would a X person dance in this? We always do a regular dancing. So it becomes difficult mainly when I'm playing a more realistic role. Like
My
say,
name is Khan. That's what I was going to say.
But
My
then
name is
again,
Khan.
those are the technicalities. It's not something that you can't do. It's challenging maybe. You spend some time, prep it as well as you can, and hope it lands well, like you said. But no, I can never say it as an actor that, oh, this was so difficult. It took the life out of me. No, I don't think there's been a role like that. All of them are nice. I find the ones which are regular roles, those more difficult to play.
Right.
Especially in the Indian commercial scenario, that you're just a regular guy playing it. If they have crutches and stuff, then it's easier to play, I think.
That's true.
How long do you have to rehearse for a dance number, a set piece?
I started off, there was a movie many years ago when I started, in 94, 95, I released a film called Bazika. And that was the first time they had a dancing number for me, like a set piece with a lot of dancers. And I went for rehearsals. I went for 4 days of rehearsals, and day and night. I used to go 2 in the afternoon, finish at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I thought I'll kill it. And because the song that I'd done before, I was miserable at on the sets. It was pathetic. And then I came back after 4 days and nights and did the shot, and I was exactly at the same level of misery, and I did it as badly. And so about 20 years, 15 years back, I decided never to rehearse. Because I can't get better. As soon as I come on the sets, I just request just do this much only, take one shot. So they normally shoot with me, hello. And
He's actually being very modest.
That's
It's
good.
quite good.
That's
You also
good.
invented the Shahrukh Khan style, haven't you? I mean,
there's a style that is kind of famous now where I put
Yeah!
and I do nothing. Very smart. Whenever anything goes wrong in dancing, whether those complicated steps, you have to do all that. So when they do that, hip hop, big bop, lock and pop. So when they do that stuff, I say, you know what, my character will just stand like this.
I'm going to try that. I'll tell you a story. One time in a film, I had to be an organist, play an organ. An organ, you're playing with all 4 limbs, hands and feet. I couldn't even get the piano part. Unfortunately, they shoot the hands and they cut down and shoot someone else's feet. But I couldn't even get the piano part. I couldn't get both hands. So what we did was, I had the bass line with the left hand, and what we did was we got another guy who could play an organ, whose hand looked close enough.
You'd be shocked
we
at how
put
much
a
that
hole in the
happens.
back of my jacket, and he slid his hand through, And I
The
just did
lengths
this.
they go to make it look like he's really playing the piano.
He made the thing work.
The Irishman was.
You want to tell us which movie so we can go back and look?
Tree of Life.
Tree of Life.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No!
Thank you guys. Thank you.
I could have taken another 45 minutes of that easy.
Yeah, that was. It's so interesting that Shahrukh Khan and talking about.
I don't rehearse.
I don't rehearse it because I'm not going to get better. It's also really interesting. It's hard to dance in character.
Well, like he said, because the dance numbers, it's not a musical.
No.
It's like in Oliver, it's easy to dance in character as Fagin because he's always Fagin.
Yeah.
But if there was just a standalone number, well, all of a sudden Fagin is dancing in a different set piece with a completely song that's not related to the story with all these other 20th century kind of dancing. That's when Oliver came out. I understand. It's like, I don't know. All of the dance numbers we do, they don't propel the story. It's just a standalone dance number. I wonder if he's ever said that to a director who loves rehearsal, because not all directors like rehearsing either. So let's say a director wants to rehearse.
Yeah.
And calls up and says, yeah, we're going to have a table read. I'm sure he'd do that. And then we're going to have 2 weeks of rehearsal. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. What do you mean you're not going to do that? I won't get any better.
He probably does the steps and stuff like he was like here's my thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it 10 times to get better because
Well,
it's not going to happen.
And in all sincerity, there's a lot of actors who don't like to rehearse. I'm not one of them. I love rehearsal, but I don't mind if I'm working with people that don't want to rehearse. But there's a lot of people who, the more they do something, the more it gets in their head, and all their spontaneity and all their creativity's gone, and now they're thinking too much. It's just about, now, okay, I've exhausted all the options. Now what? I don't want to be repetitive. So they feel like, I think De Niro is actually that way.
Yeah.
I think De Niro is not a fan of rehearsal.
Depending on the scene, I'm not always a fan of rehearsing. Depending on the scene. Because sometimes...
Well, some are draining.
Well, like when it's like a big emotional
Right.
scene.
You can't
don't
run that over and over again.
I don't want to expel all that emotion and also make it feel disingenuous after I do it 10 times.
Correct. Well, the great thing is to have a director who understands that, because if you have an emotional scene, whether it's for television, film, or stage, the director's going to rehearse you, and it's going to say, don't give it, I'm interested in blocking, and I'm interested in making sure we know our lines. I don't want you to give me the full scene.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, we're just going to walk through this.
Right.
Everybody, I need you here.
Correct.
I need you here.
Correct.
I need you here. And you go and then how could you do that to me?
That's why.
Blah, blah, blah,
that's
blah.
why it's so impressive to see, especially a film. It's impressive to see it on stage because you're watching the continuum of something, but it's a lot easier as an actor on stage because you're in control and you're carrying over everything from before. Whereas in a film, when you're watching a film like the one where Radhika Apte had to just be in a constant state of terror.
Yeah.
She had to be that way 12 hours a day for 45 days, not just 3 hours on a stage that night.
Yeah.
And shooting out of context, having to remember, okay, where was I 2 weeks ago when this scene was the follow-up to it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So it would depend on the scene for me. Sometimes I enjoy doing the rehearsals. But yeah, sometimes I think it's smarter to not do them.
Yeah,
in terms of
probably.
At full force.
And I've seen Brad Pitt in many, many interviews throughout my life, and I've actually been at some screenings. The most recent one, Micah and I went and saw a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood screening, and it was him and DiCaprio. And one of the things I love about him, he is consistently not into himself. Mm-hmm. He repeatedly, like he did here, he'll defer to the other person. He doesn't assume that he's going to be the one to ask questions. And I've found him to be a genuine actor that really does try to do his utmost. The movie that impressed me was when he did Babel, because Brad was always known for being a heartthrob since the days of Thelma and Louise. He's a gorgeous man. But in Babel, he allowed himself to be aged and overweight a little bit. And it was the first time I thought, wow, this guy actually wants to act. He's not just a pretty face.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Mel Gibson when he did Hamlet.
I didn't like him for a long time. He was doing roles that early Leonardo DiCaprio would do, just heartthrob. And I didn't like him. And now he's doing character roles, and I love it.
That's the benefit of getting old in the industry.
Yeah, I think Leo should stick to doing character roles. I think he's much stronger in that.
Most are.
And maybe it's a lot more interesting to me as opposed to the leading guy that's just a pretty man.
But well, yeah, the person who came to mind, and then you added pretty man, is how do you feel about the roles where he's the same when Tom Hanks is the leading man, because he's adorable. He's not a pretty guy.
So I actually have an issue sometimes with Tom Hanks.
Do you?
I think for a lot of his career, he's remained the same. Not always. I think he's changed it up. Obviously, Forrest Gump, he's had so many roles that he's changed it up. And that's, I think, why he stayed relevant. But sometimes he can get a little repetitive.
Well, he did early on when he was doing The Bachelor, right when he came out of Bosom Buddies. Yeah, and it's hard because it's an interesting juxtaposition for those two. Yeah, I use that word again. Because the first thing Brad said was he likes to just, reinvent himself and keep changing and evolving and create new things and find new things. But a lot of the decision making we know SRK goes into is what he wants to please his fan base.
Yeah, and we're hoping Anurag, I know, wants to work with him. I know he's always said that he's one of his favorite actors ever.
I feel like that would be unleashing his inner deep
role. I feel Anurag could bring up
100%.
or Vishal. I think they both could do it.
Yeah, they could.
But yeah,
I would love that. Just a no holds barred.
I don't know if SRK's fans would, but I think you've done enough for your fans. Do something for yourself.
Maybe Brad has a project, and the place where Shahrukh feels comfortable doing that is in a film that isn't an Indian film definitive for his fan base. I mean, they'd find out about it, but maybe he's put in something that's an independent kind of thing here in the States.
I would love it.
Me too.
I would love it. Yeah, that was great. Let us know more interviews that we can react to from Shahrukh Khan or others, please, down below.